Good morning.
Good morning.
Recording already, huh?
It does it itself, so yes.
Automatic.
I usually pause it because I don't want to hear the first 2 minutes that I'm in the room when I'm swearing and moving stuff around and
So maybe now's a good time to pause it. Open up the doors. Welcome, welcome,
Release the
welcome
Kraken.
everybody. Welcome
there.
back.
Welcome back. Um,
So we got a few more people joining in, and Christine is going to be here in a minute. Um, and welcome to our sales lab. We are super excited about this. And I'm gonna mute Kevin because I hear me in his window. Um, and we're basically going to discuss what our sales lab is all about, what the next few weeks are going to bring you, and really answer any questions that you have. And Mitch is going to share more knowledge because that's what he does. And super excited to see you back, Tatiana and Chris and Jamie of Kevin, of course. Although I can't see you guys.
Will you show? Okay, he's having lunch. Okay.
Making lunch, but I am here.
Great. As long as you can hear us.
Kevin, you do realize that it's like 2 o'clock. It's a little late for lunch now.
Depends.
I haven't eaten lunch yet either.
There you go.
Getting into dinner now, guys.
I'm a late eater. I don't eat.
So,
All right. You want to kick this off?
we can kick it off. We can wait just a minute or two more. We have Ryan and Tyler and Alicia that are still
Okay.
we're waiting for.
So why don't we talk to them in the meantime and
Let's do that.
kind of like share a little, like 30 seconds, 1 minute. What made you decide to join us? I'm curious to know. So don't all speak at once. You could stay unmuted, really, because this is like a cloud room, so you wouldn't be with muted in a room. When this is conversation, so jump right in.
Great. I guess I'll start. Hi, everyone. So I'm Tatiana, right? It says on the screen. The reason I joined, so I had started coaching with Terry and Christine last year. I did the 6 months with them, and then I thought I could do it on my own for the rest of the year. And just in the last few months, realized that I really did need that, support and someone to really kind of circle back to. And I was super excited that he invited me to the call that you guys were having just a few weeks ago. And you had said something on the call: when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that was so on point. So that's how I ended up here.
Great. Well, welcome. Glad to see you circled back around.
And I hope you enjoyed Florida. She just got back from a Florida vacation too.
Oh, wow.
I
Nice.
did think it was super cold for Florida, not what we were expecting. We had to go buy sweaters and stuff. But it was
That sucks.
yeah.
I heard it get cold down there. Yeah, that's funny.
Sorry I brought it up then.
So based on Tatiana's introduction, apparently Terry, you are not the teacher. I am sorry to report to you. It's Mitch. It's all Mitch.
Oh God, I'll never hear the end of this.
Well, so
I don't disagree. He's been a very pinnacle point of my development. So
oh wow, McDermott's here too. Wow.
Yeah.
look at-
see, here's the thing. This is the thing that you guys all have to realize. The smart people jumped in right away.
Yeah. Exactly.
Called first mover, right?
Yeah,
So why'd you join us?
Chris.
Who are we talking to now?
Oh, I thought Chris. I'm sorry.
Chris.
Okay, all right. So Mitch, I that night that we had the intro session, just the way you put forth some of your concepts and ideas really just rung with me. And And I liked it. And then I went and bought this.
Oh,
And
wow. Great.
I just got it. I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm gonna be reading that. And so yeah, just kind of like your approach and I, and Terry and Christine have presented, the same concepts, right? Just different ways of doing it. And I want to be able to round myself out as much as possible. So that's really where I got here.
Well, great. And I appreciate you buying my book. I wrote that book now 9 years ago. It's amazing. I still get my $2.92 royalties every now and then. It makes me feel good. I go buy a latte. But I know one person more is reading it. So thanks a lot, Chris, and welcome.
That amazes me. That's all you get. Wow, that's crazy.
No, actually, you get, depending upon your deal, you could get anywhere from 30% to 60%. But the Kindle book is $2.99, so like I get $1.90, or as my father used to say, $1.380. I never understood that. All right, who else wants? Welcome.
Kevin typed in the chat, but I'm not gonna allow that. Kevin, unmute and say what you said in the chat.
All right, fair enough. So for me, I liked what we learned on the original call about building relationship capital, because the way that I chase a lot of leads is a lot of them are cold. So rather than going straight for the kill in terms of hold on one sec. Rather than going straight for the kill in the transaction, it's much easier to build a relationship with that person and kind of get to know their situation first and see if it's even worth pursuing the transaction at all. And for me, I used it now, and it certainly helps a lot, even with people that are a little testy at first. They see I'm just not going for the jugular right away, rather get to know them and see if we can work together. It was a game changer. So I'd like to learn more, and even more along the lines of learning even the right questions to ask, because that's something I wouldn't have even thought to ask about right away. So
Great. We are going to be heavy on questions. In fact, I would say that by the 3-month mark, we'll have enough questions to fill a book. And you'll know exactly what questions to ask in what situations. And again, it's so much easier when you get people talking than when you have to do all the talking and not know if the person is actually hearing. Remember, we're not always selling what they're buying, and they're not always buying what we're selling. So we're going to help you do that. And congratulations for taking it out and implementing it right away. So welcome. We love to have you.
And welcome, Alicia and Tyler. What we are discussing is why you decided to jump in right now, other than that you're brilliant and fast action takers. So
whoever wants to go next.
Whoever's next.
So why can't that be all of it?
That's good enough for me.
I'm just kidding.
So Ryan.
Alicia, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So for me, multiple reasons. You can always fine tune your skills. The more knowledge you gain, the more tools you have in your set to be able to pull out and use. And I also just started a new job, which is going to be a lot of cold calling and outbound. And then in addition, of course, I'm expanding into the real estate realm as well. So just many facets that for me in my life at this moment that it can benefit.
Great.
And I will say, Mitch, that Alicia is pretty amazing, because we had talked a number of times, and there was that hesitation that a lot of people have about jumping and doing something, and she wasn't able to see it. And then the last time we talked, I was like, jump in, work with us, see what's possible rather than trying to wait until the time is right. And she jumped into our generator network and this program, and within that week she got a new job selling.
Great.
And so
Terrific. We're really, we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. So welcome aboard and glad to have you.
Thank you.
So who's next? All right, Tyler, go ahead.
Sure. Well, for me, I'd say I'm at an interesting transition point in my business and my life. It's really kind of taken the last year for Terry and Christine to get through to me and beat through my head my value that I did not see until recently, and the value that I can turn into what I can provide for my clients. So the timing is pretty good because I feel like I was right at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. I understand my value, and I want to know how to articulate this well to my clients. And then Terry calls and is like, hey, we got this sales lab. We're gonna focus on that. It's like, okay, well, that's perfect. So basically I've kind of, the last year working with Terry and Christine has really been, I think, just my own personal development of understanding what I can even do as a business owner and as a consultant. And now the value I see coming in the sales lab for me will be making that known to everyone else.
That's awesome. And one of the things that Mitch actually really helped me get is, as much as I see my value or whatever, I have no idea how much they value my information. So letting them identify the value is much more important than me trying to suggest my value. And as we get into that, you'll start to see that there's even more to learn around that, because where we value ourselves, maybe you've doubled or tripled the idea of how much you value your services. But when they have a problem, the value goes up. And so understanding where they're at by asking those questions and be much more exploratory, you're going to start to see much bigger numbers come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to really going to talk a lot consistently about pricing. Now, some of you have products and services with fixed pricing, or other people set the price. That's okay. We'll do our best to help you sell more of it at the price, whatever the price they fix. But for those of you who fix your own price, whether it's on your time, your services, your expertise, your products, for those of you, in any kind of a service-oriented business, we're going to really help you to know exactly how to price yourself, or how to allow somebody else to price you. And when you just know how to do that, you're never stuck for what's it worth. How should I price myself? You can always find a middle ground between what they would pay and what you would charge. And I always say, if people would offer you more than you would have charged, take it. But you wouldn't know that until you actually ask them to make you an offer. And as Terry and Christine had mentioned, part of the new game of selling is to position yourself so that people say, I want what you have, without you having to sell it, push it, persuade it, whatever, because that's very uncomfortable. It was for me. I don't like to convince people or persuade them to do something unless they really want to do it. Like, you're here, you're ready, you're committed, you're willing, you're able. All four of those criteria will fulfilled. Otherwise, you wouldn't yet be here. So I admire you, Tyler, and we're going to make sure we talk about what I call the money talk, the 5 different levels of pricing. So welcome aboard. Who haven't we heard from? Ryan
or Jamie? Ryan, you're up.
There you go. Yeah, no, I think I'm glad to be here. And, I think, I'm here for, I think, a lot of the reasons have already been, been said, particularly, Tyler, trying to figure out, you know, how to price products. I've been in a world where it's been pretty fixed, and I'm moving into a place where I get to do more of the setting, and it's, you know, it's been probably like 8 or 9 months of kind of playing around with that and learning a lot from Terry and Christine and making some progress, but still knowing that I'm not completely all the way there, and I fall right back, you know, when I'm challenged in a way I haven't been challenged before, or I hear something and where I don't know what the answer is, I retreat right back to diminishing what I know is very valuable. And you know, I think the best way to, you know, to get successful or better at anything is to practice. And that's why I would like to, you know, I want to make this, I want to be practicing these sales skills on a regular basis, so that I can, you know, make those incremental improvements.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, you're in the right place, for sure. And welcome aboard. And we'll do our best to help you in all those aspects. So, Jamie, last but not least, are you with us?
She mentioned having a call today.
Oh, she might have a call.
She might.
Okay. Well, hi, Christine.
Hi.
Why are you with us today? Why did you join us today?
Because this is like the fantastic program, and I can't believe that it's only, well, there's a few other people. I'm just glad you guys are here because it's stellar. Like, we've seen it, we've experienced, we've benefited from it, and I know you guys will all pick up pieces as you go. And participating in the lab, like Ryan said, a lot of it can be just practicing, bouncing off, and we be your prospect, or we be you and you be the prospect. That's why I'm here, because sales are an essential piece of our life. It's our lifeline. If there's something you want to go buy, then you got to go make a sale. You got to provide your services, and you guys are all exceptional in here, and deserve exceptional things in your life.
You know, in fact, every person on this call, I've seen them come into our sphere, not sure where they're at, and then just accelerate in what they were doing. And some people stay at the acceleration, and some people have had bumps along the road. But I know that every one of you can do it. And so with Mitch, with us, being able to really concentrate on that, one of the things that, you know, you hear in the personal development world all the time is what you focus on expands. So when we focus on sales, we're going to expand it. And I'm super excited.
And you get the value profile, you get the service, and you get the mind training. It's all in this. So I think we get going. That's where I think we really start, is talking about what's to come. And I'd like to have you start with what the value profile is about, because you've said it a couple of times, and I don't know that everybody knows what that is.
Well, I'm going to get to that. I'd like to maybe lay the context for this, because right now they don't know what that is and what it's all about. Right. However, this program, I don't like to label things, all right? I don't like the label of coach, consultant. I'm not against them, because people have to know what you do. But there's a difference between who you are and what you do. Who you are, what you do is part of who you are. And it's inextricably linked to who you are. So part of our job, or as I see it, is to get you completely congruent with who you are, what you're doing, and where you're going. What I call soul, role, and goal. And so we're not just going to talk about the tools, which are great, the formulas, the methods, you know, the role play, the coaching, all the good things that you do to, as Ryan said, to practice here. So you get the chance to practice with feedback. It's a safe space. No matter how dumb you think you look, I've looked dumber. So you can't have outdumbed me all along my career. I've seen it all and done it all, including gotten caught on mic in the bathroom with 400 people. So, you walk out, everybody gives you a standing ovation and you have no idea what it's for. You find out afterwards, well, the embarrassment just disappears. So don't feel shy. Take as much advantage of this opportunity as you can. Speak out. Now, obviously, we have a great core group here. And I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think all of them get the extra bonus, which we threw in, which was a private session with me anytime along this next 3 months that you feel it would be most valuable to you. We arrange it and we get on a Zoom call, we record it, and you can ask me anything, whatever it is that you want to discuss with me. I'll give you a personal second opinion, all right? So that's good for all of you. Congratulations to all of you, and you deserve it. Also, it's really important that you show up and that you be here. Those 2 things I learned from my parents. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, yours, mine, and ours. And my parents were at everything, and they always showed up early, left late, which was not always the best thing, but they were always present, and they never said the words to me, but I observed, I said, show up and be there. And that has served me my whole life, because if you're not going to be here, don't show up. Be present, take it all in, and don't zone out when we're talking to someone else because you don't think it may apply to you. Sometimes your answers are going to come from interactions that we have with other people, and being as we don't have the answers, if you have an insight that you can offer somebody, please don't hold back, because sometimes you might see something that we don't see or hear something that we don't hear. All right. So be willing to share, be willing to give, and be willing to ask any question, as dumb as you think it may seem, because really sometimes the dumbest questions are the most important ones. And people hold them in because they don't want to feel silly, but that's crazy. All right. So that's the context of what we're going to do. So I don't think we need to introduce ourselves, but I think it would be important to say what our motives are. All right. So Terry, why for all this? What's your
my why is very simple. I struggled in moving from one business to another. When I started my own private practice in psychology, I wanted to be successful in helping people, and I found that working in mental health was not really a success track that was working for me because it just didn't fulfill me. And then when I started working with businesses and entrepreneurs and CEOs of businesses, I found that helping them to be successful was really fulfilling to me, and that's what made me excited about my life and my trajectory. And so I put my company together with Christine, all about generating the business, life, and relationships you love, because that's what I'm about, and everybody's heard my story. I'm in recovery, and my life was shitty when it was all about me. And so my life is all about helping other people find the success they're looking for. And the reality is if you don't know how to influence people, if you don't know how to ask questions, if you don't know how to create a working relationship with people, you're not going to go anywhere. And one of the big things that I saw in our group that we've worked with over the year is, although we've been sharing a lot of that information, people get too diffuse with marketing, and they get too diffuse with leads, and they're trying to figure out how to put the business together. And so Christine and I were talking several months ago about we need to have something much more focused, and the sales lab is the thing to do it. And with working with Mitch, we had a lot of tools, but we didn't want to share his IP without some kind of agreement there. And so he was like, you can license it. And I said, well, what I'd really like is if we could bring you in, work with us, and we license it, but actually make it available to you. So one of the other things we're going to talk about later is making sure that you guys aren't sharing this with other people too, because we want you to be successful with it, but it's Mitch's IP. And so we want to make sure that we respect and appreciate all of the work he's done to create this, that he shared it with us, and now we want to share it with you, because like I said in the webinar, or whatever we're calling that, the last conversations we've had, we've made 6 figures in 3 months out of the information. We've continued every month to make $30,000-$40,000 out of our sales strategies that we really honed with Mitch. And so whatever you're doing, you're going to do it even better when you are able to take this information in, really make it your own, and then move forward with whatever you're selling.
Christine, you want to chime in here?
Terry and I, we discuss a lot of things together, and I think he kind of, for purposes of moving through, that's pretty much it. It's that there's a lot of potential in each of us, and we're not tapping into the gifts that we have to share, or the opportunities we have to share with other people, because we solve problems for people, and it's up to us to have the conversations to know the value, like we started with, of how we can bring solutions or shorten the sales cycle. If it's a cycle, the buying cycle, you'll learn it all. But it's really about having you create the businesses so you have the life and the relationships you're looking for. So
Great. So let's get right into kind of setting the context. All right. We said the last time we were together that our purpose is 3 parts. It's to actualize people, in this case you, to maximize performance, and to optimize profit. Now, those are heady words, they were optimize and maximize. You never really know. The idea, though, is to not have a compromise mentality. All right. Many of us have compromised our own abundance, our own worth, our own success. So we're going to also, if you saw any of my bio, I'm the CEO of my company, but that's not the chief executive officer. It's the chief encouragement officer. So I want to be your chief encouragement officer, in addition to helping you do and get what you came to get. And that's our agenda. It's really simple. You want something, you need something, you bring it up. That's what we're here to do. If it's outside of our scope of expertise, we will tell you. We will not wing it, no pun intended. And so the outcome being very simple: to up your game. Now, how much you up your game, that's up to you. I like to say your upside is not outside, your upside is inside. That's why we're also going to take a bit of an inside journey into this thing up here. And you're going to get an experience that you've never had before. And that experience is in 15 minutes, we'll give you a tool, an exercise to do called the value profile. And that profile actually measures how you think in value. And from it, we're going to give you a couple of reports that are going to guide you in your pathways forward. And also it's going to measure 46 different capacities of success. And we're going to be able to pinpoint with pretty good accuracy that which is holding you back between your 2 ears. All right. And it's going to come down to 3 things: your attention, where you look, your bias, how you look, and most importantly, your clarity, which is how much of the world and yourself do you actually see. And when you know that and you see that, now you can realize, wow, either that's something I don't have to worry about, or it's something I can address and we can help you. But maybe as important as what's holding you back is what you're not paying attention to, that you have a skill or an ability or a talent that if you shifted your attention a little bit, you might have tremendously different results. So that's a gift from me to you, an extra gift that we want you to have. And we're actually going to do, and we might actually do it next week, only because that'll give us a chance to bridge to the following session. But Taryn and Christine will talk about it. You'll get the login and password, you'll do it, you'll get the reports, you'll read them, and then we'll have a conversation about it, separate from this. So you'll also have an additional conversation in addition to our regular scheduled programming, all right? Now, this is a lab, and I hate to use the analogy, but I will. You're lab rats. Like it or not, we're all lab rats, right? Life is a lab.
Absolutely.
I mean, life is a lab, really. It's a lab, one big laboratory. And every day you get up and you navigate your way through it. So we have some structure here, but not a whole lot. And there's a reason for it. Because if we're too structured, you will zone out because you're a passive participant. You cannot be passive. You have to be active. You have to jump in. Now, we're all not going to be rude, so I'm not worried about that. But it's your job to really get what you came to get. It's our job to help you get it, but it's your job to kind of identify it and bring it up. And again, like we talked about in the preview, if there's something very private you don't want to discuss with the group, then you contact in between. We'll make arrangements, an email or whatever it may be, explain your situation, and one of us will respond to it. We'll look at it together and we'll figure out, who's going to respond. Because sometimes you have situations you may not want to bring up in the group, private, money, whatever it may be. So we want to give you that chance not to feel stifled, that there's a way you can communicate with us. And really, people say, what is this all about? I'd say if you had to break it down, it's all about communication. Communication with yourself and communication with others. It's awareness of yourself and awareness of the world around you. And sometimes, and I know it's true for me, so I'm sure it's true for you, when you're in your head and you're thinking, it's hard to be present, very hard. And my observation from training 1 million people is that very many people can't pay attention and be thinking about what they need to say at the same time. So they miss things in the relationship, in the interaction. They miss nonverbal cues. They miss verbal cues. They don't hear something they should have heard because they're thinking about something they should have said. All these things we've all experienced sometime in our life, and some of us still do. I mean, I have to catch myself. The good thing is I shorten the time frame from when I'm unconscious to when I'm conscious. And a big part of this, if you want to call training, is to train yourself to be conscious, be present, be listening, not be thinking about what's the objection or what should I do. Oh, geez, I forgot to pick up milk. Damn. I've had those moments where I'm sitting with somebody and it's like, I know they just said something, but I was thinking of something else. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of being present, all right? Sometimes just being present and listening is all you need. You don't need the whiz-bang phrase or the closing technique or the magic formula, whatever, all right? So we decided to do this for 3 months. And it's important that you participate, you discuss, you bring up issues, whatever it may take, and that you contribute wherever you can, because contributing is something we all like to do. All right. Hey, Jamie. And as we said in the preview, this is a do to learn. So it's not a course. There's no homework per se. you're going to figure out what you need to do after every session and go do it. And then report back what worked, what didn't work, what might have worked, and we discuss it. And until we get large enough to be unwieldy, which we hope will be very soon, we're going to handle all of you. And so nobody's not going to be taken care of. And if by some chance, because we can handle most of the issues in 5 or 10 minutes, right? It's not, this isn't 50-minute therapy. This is like, boom, you want an answer? We'll come up with an answer. If we can't come up in 5 or 10 minutes, then we won't dwell on it. Maybe you need to sit and let it percolate, and then it comes to you in the middle of the night. You never know, right? So that's kind of the environment we want to set. Very important for you to have momentum. And momentum comes from motion. It's important to meditate, but it's important to be in motion. Because once you're in motion, you can measure and modify, measure and modify. But if you're not in motion, you're in inertia. And I got my laws mixed up in one of the previews. I said it was the law of cause and effect, but it was really the law of inertia I was referring to. A body in motion stays in motion in the same direction indefinitely unless, what's the unless?
Acted upon by an outside force.
Right. Or an inside force. You decide, hey, you know what? I'm off course. I've been off course for long enough. Maybe it's time I stopped and turn to a different direction. And then it requires a willingness to modify, not blame yourself, not beat yourself up, not castigate yourself, which about 70% of us do incessantly. We tear ourselves down more than anybody could tear us down. So we want you to get in motion and measure and modify, adjust, correct, all right? There's no good or bad. It's all data. You take it in its data, you crank it through the software, and then you come out with a new direction. We talked about in the preview also how it's important for you to take responsibility for your part in this. That means for you to do the things you want to do, need to do. Results are going to be a direct reflection of what you do. I've worked with Terry and Christine for about 1.5 years, close to. I've worked with other people for 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever. Okay. I can tell, and another reason why, by the way, we're doing 3 months, because we want you to get results fast. We don't want you, you know how they say that activity fills time? Like if you have 6 months to do something, you'll take 6 months. If you have 3 months, you'll take 3 months. But if you have to do it by next Friday, that's a different story. So we want to give you a gentle kick in the butt to kind of get you in motion. Not that you would produce results necessarily, but the idea is that you get in motion and you get accustomed to that motion and you start to get momentum, and momentum begets momentum, all right? And once you start to have success, success breeds success. So we want you to have early success as quick as possible, not at the expense of your sanity. Like we're not racing against time here, but we really want to zero in on a success you can have right away. Like Kevin said, he went out and he did it, right? You tried it and it worked. And it changed your whole approach just by doing it once or twice. But you can never know how it's going to work until you actually do it. Again, why imperfect action is so important. Okay, that's kind of it from the point of view of context. Now, I think I shared the 5 steps from mystery to mastery. Did I share that in one of the preview sessions? Do you remember? Okay.
I remember it.
You're all looking at me with a dumb look on your face, so I guess I
We
did.
know them, so I don't know when
Okay.
we heard them last.
Why don't you talk about yourselves for about 30 seconds? I want to get this model because it's so important to give you a pathway from what is now your unconscious incompetence, right? We're all unconsciously incompetent. There's something we don't know, or we don't see. Part of our job here is to help you bring it conscious, because once you go from unconscious to conscious, you trigger transformation. Because once you can see what you don't know, once you can know what you don't know, then you can find out how to do it. All right. So part of this whole process is to get you from unconscious incompetent to consciously incompetent in the areas that you need to improve. And then you move to conscious competence. All right. I'm going to forget the model. I'll just keep talking. So how you do that, impact. Impact is, oh my God, I'm now conscious of what I was unconscious before. And that's going to happen to you throughout the time you're with us. It'll happen to you also when you go into the library, because there'll be things that you'll discover that's, oh my God, So impact takes you from unconscious to conscious. Repetition. You've got to repeat it. So you've got to do it. That means practice, right? When you practice and you actually take it on the field outside the clubhouse, so to speak, and you're in the game, that's when you see what happens. So we're going to do our best to prepare you, here in the lab, the clubhouse, so to speak. But when you go out on the field, we want you to be ready, prepared, and confident that you can do what we discussed in the clubhouse. But, like any game, you get on the field, oh, boy, it's raining today. I got to adjust my approach. Or there's a lot of wind, a lot of resistance out there today. Maybe I need to go back to my questions, whatever it may be. All right. Then once you practice it, the next part is internalization. All right. When you go from essentially utilization, you use it, and you then internalize it, you become the unconscious competent. And there are things right now that you do that you're not conscious of that work, right? You've gotten to a point where some things you're unconsciously competent at. There are other things that you're consciously competent at. You have to actually think about it. That's the progression. And then you get to the fifth part, which is reinforcement. And you create the environment for yourself, this being one of them, environments, to reinforce what you're doing. And when you get to that place, you actually get to mastery. And when you get to mastery, not only can you do it, you can teach it. You can share it. You can show others how to do it. Okay. So I strive for mastery in the things I want to be competent at. Why? It's better for me. And then I can share it. And that's how all of my work over the years developed. I did it all for me. I didn't sit down and say, well, let me do this for somebody else. I never did it for me. How are they going to believe that I can do it for you if I've never done it for me? And there are a lot of people out there doing it like that. So everything that you're going to get in this relationship, in this experience, has been done successfully. Not just once, not just twice, thousands and thousands of times. Okay. So you can count on the tools, you can count on the formulas, you can count on everything you get. We want to help you count on you, because you're the most important part of this equation. We'll do everything we can to continue to build you up, never tear you down, and encourage you to constantly improve and be better. Okay? So with that said, any comments, questions before we kind of get into what you're actually going to get?
Mitch, I just want to make sure I've got those steps down. So you were talking about unconscious incompetence getting down to conscious
Right.
competence, right?
Let me give you the steps.
Yeah.
It's an acronym. IRUIR. I. Impact. When you're impacted, you learn something. That takes you from that unconscious state to conscious. Second step, IR, repetition. Now that you know what it is, you repeat it, you repeat it, you repeat it. But that's up here in your head, right? Third step is the critical step, is U for utilization. That's where you actually do it. So here you practice it, we talk about it, what's in your head, you get into the real world, use it, use it, use it. By using something, you get better, you get better, you get better, you internalize it. That's the fourth step, internalization. When you internalize something, like there are things, when you're learning to drive, you got your hands on the wheel and you're frozen and you don't move. And now you're like, driving with no hands, drinking coffee, on the phone, looking here. Not really, I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. That's unconscious competence, right? You don't have to think about it. You just do it. It kind of comes naturally. I've been doing this so long. It's not that I'm really brighter than everybody else. It's just I've been doing it so long, it's unconscious. When I learn something new, I'm a unconscious incompetent, just like everybody else. And if I want to learn it, I have to become conscious and then I have to become competent. Now, I might not want to master everything. So I may want to stop at, conscious competent. I'm okay with that. I'm good enough with that. I don't have to master everything, right? So the fifth step is reinforcement. Reinforcement, putting yourself in the environment, being around people who reinforce you, whatever it takes to reinforce that skill. And that's where you become a master. Thought I shut my phone off. Guess not. Okay, impact, repetition, utilization, internalization, reinforcement. Got it? Okay.
Got it.
So let me now put something in the chat because I want you guys to have, for those who have bought my book, I very much appreciate it. For those who haven't bought my book, I'm taking names. Actually, no, I'm going to give you a copy of my book in PDF. It's not as good as having the physical book, but what I want you to do is I actually want you to read that book. Before I'll get to the other materials and such. You could do it over lunch, really. It's a short book. It reads quick, but I think what it'll do is it'll give you the whole kind of scope of what the new game is all about. And that's what we're here to do, is learn the new game of selling, the new game of service, pick those plays in the playbook that will work for you and go out and be abundant with them. All right. So what I want to do is in the chat, and I don't know if I can just drop it in there or if no, I can't do that. Okay. I am going to put in the chat two things, a zip file and an intake form, right? The intake form you can fill out, just bear with me 1 second. The intake form is kind of like what I give to people when they are coming to me for a second opinion. So the intake form is just a single document, and you can go through that at your leisure. It's kind of give us a lay of the land, and you can share it with us if you care to. You don't have to, but it'd be helpful if we knew what you were trying to accomplish. The zip file you can download. Sales Accelerate. These are some extras. Actually, there's 1 or 2 items in here when you get it. I don't know. Yeah, there it is. Okay, fine. So what is in this folder for now? I'll just tell you, you don't have to bother opening it up. The book in a PDF form. The new game is selling playbook, meaning the video library and each video description, so that you'll be able to identify exactly which of those plays and game plans you want to go into. And then the time codes, the approximate time it takes you to get through the main modules or the main plays, all right? And there's only one that takes 33 minutes. The rest are like between 8 and 20 minutes, okay? So the intake form is kind of give us some sense of, what you want, the upside potential you have, and such. And the other one, the playbook, you want to keep handy. You'll print it out or just open it up in the PDF, and you look through it. And as you go through the videos, which I'm going to show you in a second, you'll be able to see which of the skills, which of the models, which of the frameworks do I need to look at first. Some of you are linear, all right? You like to go from beginning to middle to end. God bless you. You want to do that, and you want to binge. I'm just afraid you'll be sick of me by the time you get done. You'll never want to show up again. I don't recommend it, but like, by all means, if you wanted to, dive in if you're enjoying it. What we're going to show you how to do really is pick and choose the game plans that you feel you need to address first. And then within that game plan, which are the plays that would make the most sense for you to start practicing or implementing, pulling out of your toolbox and start working on, okay? So whether you're sequential in your approach and you want to go from beginning, you want to get the whole thing and then go back and pick and choose, or you're modular, like figure out a game plan, or you're singular, you say, you know what? I need referrals. I need to go back to my customers and ask them 5 questions of service. And that's in the keep game plan. I'm going to write to that. And that's the thing I'm going to do this week. All right. So it doesn't have to be consumed in a sequential linear way. You go right to the issue you're working on, right to the play that will work. And of course, we will help you execute it and implement it. But you have the library, which teaches you what it is, how it works, and how to do it. All right. So in between sessions, you go right into the library and you can brush up on any of the skills or tools that you need. So let me show you. The website is not actually done yet, but I'm going to show you kind of what it will look like, even though it won't look exactly like this, and how easy it is to access it. So I'm going to share my screen, and you let me know when we're there. We there? We there? You got it?
We see it.
You see it. Okay.
Track, qualify, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be similar to this. You're going to go in and you're going to see folders. Let me see if I can make it smaller. These will be essentially, you have, if you were to open up the playbook, you will see that the playbook is arranged the same way. There are 6 game plans: attract, new buyers, qualify, convert. These 3 are the new game of selling. Keep, multiply, and reactivate. That's the new game of service. So let's say, Tatiana, I think we'll use you as an example. Would you like to know what you do and why people are buying from you, and then go out and get more of them?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what we may do is we may decide, let's go into the keep. No record. So, okay, there we are. Let's go into this and see which of these modules or plays would be helpful for you. So what I'm going to say is, I would recommend that you ask the 5 questions of service. And all I have to do is find them here. So, I have to load more. Here we go. Okay, 5 questions of service. Or maybe you say, I'd like to get referrals this week. So I'm going to go into the mega referrals. Well, let's go to the 5 questions of service. And what will happen is a video will pop up inside of this game plan for this particular item. You'll have the worksheet, single worksheet, 5 questions. You can put it on your letterhead or whatever you want to do. And this will show you, well, just by very simply hitting the button, it will take you right through.
Now I want to share with you
the 5 questions of service. And the entire presentation, essentially, as you see, I'll go ahead a little bit.
The emotional
Okay.
link. And
So essentially, the entire program is voice over PowerPoint. And each module or play, as I like to call it, will guide you through the process that we're teaching in that individual play. Okay? Very simple. And pretty much every one of these has a worksheet. So let's say, for example, you have a lot of people in your pipeline and you don't know who to talk to first, or you don't know how to qualify them. You say, okay, let's go to the qualify game. And let's see, how can we qualify it? I really need to know where they are in the buying cycle. I'm not sure if they're ready or if they're getting ready. How do I decide that? You go into the buying cycle, takes you 12, 15 minutes, you figure that out. Or you say, you know what? I need a 4-step formula to qualify them very quickly. Oh, I'll go to the RAM formula. Or better yet, let me go to the 7 steps to qualify. And you play that video and
makes sense
boom.
to take the next step. And
okay, very simple. Easy to access, very organized. So that's it. That's the whole thing. And every video that has an actual methodology or a formula to it, there's a worksheet that goes with it. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to come off of this. Let me close this. Let me go to the playbook. Okay, can you see that?
No. You have to reshare.
Oh, I do? Oh. Okay, can you
There
see
we go.
that? All right. So inside this document right here is all of the 57 videos that are in the the video training. Each of those is described. Now remember this right here. These are the 6 game plans. Attract ideal buyers, qualify them, ready from getting ready, convert browsers into buyers. New game is selling. Keep them coming back for life, multiply your ROI, and reactivate dormant, past, or inactive customers. From what Terry tells me, 1 or 2 of you had worked with Terry and Christine before, and now you're kind of circling back, right? And kind of getting back into the fold. It goes to show you that people are constantly moving through this buying cycle. It's circular, it's not linear. So you buy, you're satisfied. Everything's great. A month, a week, a year goes by, now I'm dissatisfied, but I'm not ready to do something else. And then one day, you can't stand it no more, or somebody comes along with something better and you say, I'm ready. I'm going to teach you how to get to ready in 5 minutes. Would that be helpful? A shake of the head would be good. So these are the game plans. Now, I'm not going to go through this because you will, but just to give you a lay of the land, each game plan has an objective. Here, it's to attract qualified buyers who are searching for what you have and ready to buy it now. To create a message and design your unique service advantage that resonates with your ideal buyer, and to hit the center of the bullseye of the target every time with precision. Yeah. And now here are the plays. Go doink. Unique service advantage. How do you develop it? Tuning fork marketing. What is that all about? Tuning fork marketing, striking your chord, resonating at your pitch, and having everybody in the world vibrating with you. Because that's really what marketing is, isn't it? It's tuning fork. It's getting your tuning fork tuned, finely tuned to a message that will attract more of the people you want. And what's amazing to me is that when you go and ask your clients, why did you buy from me? Almost every single time I've had somebody do that, they come back and say, Mitch, I had no idea of this and this and this. And they completely changed their message up front to reflect the kind of clients they want. Okay. So every single game plan, whether it's attract, qualify, convert, all right.
So
They all,
if I'm following along, open this one first, read and what category I want to start in, unless we suggest something. And then they'll be like, oh, value hierarchy, that's the one. And then they go over to the other and grab the video to watch it. Is that the same?
yeah, well, we're kind of going to guide them up, but you sort of like look at the game plan first. Of the 6 game plans, what do I really need? Maybe value hierarchy them, like convert I need first, or attract second, keep third, whatever.
Okay.
Then you go into these, and I would just use a yellow highlighter and just highlight the ones that you think you might be able to use or benefit from. You might not know exactly what they are, but they explain pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right. And then you might go back and double highlight, like with a pink, the ones I really need most. All right.
Like that.
So that's why I'm giving you this document. So you always have it to refer to without having to go to the videos, because there's no real explanation inside the videos. That's what this is for. All right. Your written playbook. So it covers all 6. And you'll notice at the end of every game plan, what do you see? Action steps. So at the end of every game plan, we summarize what are your action steps to attract, qualify, convert, keep, multiply, reactivate. Okay? So that's your playbook. Now, am I still on screen share?
At the moment, yes. If you shared your whole screen, when you shut this, we'll be able to see your whole screen. Now you're off screen share, so if you have to share something else, reshare.
Okay. I just came off.
Yeah.
You could open up the other document. The other document just takes the main plays and gives you a sense of how many minutes it takes to get through that module. Okay. So you know in advance if you're going to get referrals, you block out 25 minutes. If you need the RAM formula, it's 11 minutes, whatever it may be. And then the third item in that folder is the book in a PDF form. So, but I hear it's really good in Kindle too, because I didn't know this. People actually told me that there's a way you can find out like what people highlight and whatnot. So there's a bunch of places in the book that evidently people really like. I've actually never read the Kindle from beginning to end because I read the book way too many times to write it. Okay.
I don't know about the highlighting. I highlighted pieces, but
the intake form, just so that you know, basically just ranks it's a ranking of what you want most. Also what challenges you have, what you'd like to discuss, what you'd like to accomplish. So use that form, fill it in, and it's for you, but it's also for you to have a framework to have an idea of what you want to work on, so we can specifically address your issues. Okay, let's see. I went through that. Now, materials, we're going to have materials in the membership site. There'll be a separate area where they'll probably be listed by name and by game plan, or by play. So RAM formula, obviously. 5 questions service, obviously, all right? So you'll be able to go in there and grab the worksheets as you need them. We're not putting them into a volume because they're all individual. So this way you grab what you need when you need it, all right? Okie doke. All right, now Clubhouse, the lab itself. You got a taste of it in the preview. I think many of you were there, all right? So for the most part, you are going to drive the lab based on what you need. We're not going to teach you the new game. We're going to coach you on what new game plays will serve or satisfy your need. So Tatiana, for example, you have clients, you want to know why they buy. Or Jamie, maybe you have clients, you're not really sure what it is that's causing them to do business with you. You're going to say, I'm going to go ask the 5 questions of service this week to my best customers, clients who I want more of. And you literally, you just follow the words. Here, question number 1. But you want to get deep into it. You don't want to just take, oh, I like you, you're good. Next, right? We're going to teach you how to really dig for the information, the gold that's under the surface, all right? We're going to review what you've done. Never going to call on anybody, really. I'm Terry and Christine, I don't know what you do, but I'm not one for putting people on the spot. I'm believing personal responsibility. If you want to come out and play this week, you do. If you don't, you want to be an observer, that's okay. All right. This is your game, your world. So you live in it in a way that's best for you. We'll encourage you, we'll support you, we'll invite you, we'll inspire you, but we're never going to cajole you. All right. And then, in between weeks, don't feel as though you're isolated or that you have to. If you've got an important deal coming up or a meeting coming up and you feel like you could use a little guidance or input, don't put us to work for an hour, but if you have a question or a concern or you're not sure, you're not feeling confident, or you need a little, we'll help. We'll reach out to you, all right, somehow. And so this way, in between the weeks, again, it's all about getting you right. Results, improvement, progress, and experience. Okay? All right. Couple of final things. The value profile. I'm going to just talk about more for a second. Thursday? By tomorrow, I will have the instructions. I'll get them to Terry and Christine. You can pass them along. And you can do your value profile. It takes 15 minutes. It's very quick. We'll have the reports come right back to you. All right. So we'll tell you how you're going to get them and all that. You just read through it. Read through it with no judgment at all. Because the first thing you're going to do is judge yourself. And you're probably going to look at, well, what's wrong with me? That's not the idea. In fact, you'll figure it out as soon as you get your reports. You'll see where your attention goes, all right, which will give you some insight right off the bat. And then what we'll do, possibly next week, only because maybe we want to get this out of the way, still add people to the group. And it's a great way to start our conversation when it's all about talking about the most important person in the world. Me. No, I mean you. All right. And that's what we're going to do, because when you understand yourself better and see kind of how your thinking gets in your way, or you find and discover you have an ability, a sense of clarity that you aren't using, it's incredibly, it's like a revelation, really. And so you guys do that whenever you can over the next week. And then I think what we'll do is we'll kick off next week with that conversation, and we'll officially start maybe the week after. We'll decide. And this way we keep the momentum going. All right. Let's see. Okay. Couple of miscellaneous things, and then open it up to questions or comments. We are going to ask you to sign what we call a non-disclosure, a very simple thing that says, I'm using this information for my personal gain, right? What we don't want to have is it kind of start proliferating, because we don't want people getting it. You paid for it, you deserve it. The people who don't pay for it don't deserve it. Now, if you have a partner or a spouse, we're not talking about that, okay? It'll be a simple form that says essentially, and you get to use access to this. I believe we said, 6 months at least, yep. Right? Yep. With the idea that after 3 months, we're actually going to decide what we're going to do. And that's why I say, in a way, you are lab rats. We are too. We want to continue this month to month and keep bringing people in, because the coaching can go on forever. It's not a course. Doesn't matter when you join. So you guys are going to help us do that if you want, by your participation, by you getting results, which we're zeroed in on. And then kind of 2 months into this thing, we'll have an idea of how we're going to go forward. All right. And as we promised you in the preview, if by some chance you're not getting what you think you should get, and you're at that 3 month and you're unsure and you haven't got a result, we don't want you disappearing with anxiety, frustration, or bitterness. We'd rather you say to us, look, I'd really like to stay, I'm committed to this, and we'll let you continue, because we are committed to you getting results. All right. But again, you got to play your part. All right. If you play your part, we'll play our part. The lab recordings are all going to be in the membership area. So if you miss a session, the recording should be up within a day or two afterwards. And then if we find out as we get into this that it's better that we meet every week or meet more than twice a month, we will consider that. All right. Right now, it's, I feel I've done a lot of this training over the years. And 2 weeks is a good time for you to actually implement, get feedback. But if if we get to the point where we're growing and it's to everybody's best interest to add an extra week, we will. Why? Because we're not locked into a particular structure or formula. The only thing we're locked into is you being successful, and we do whatever it takes. Okay. So if you'd like to help us grow this thing and you're finding value, if you want to share it with your friends or your colleagues, please do so. And we'll be happy to reward you in whatever way you would like to be rewarded.
Within reason.
Yes, within reason. So that's it. I really welcome you. I really admire you for taking the chance. We're going to do everything we can to fulfill our end of the bargain and to support you. And with that, I'll turn it back to Terry and Christine.
Questions, I think, is where we're at. Ryan, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I is more of a housekeeping thing. That second link, that sales accelerator extras.zip, I saved it to my computer and it's like I can't figure out how to open it. I don't know if I did something wrong.
Just double click on it.
Okay.
It should open in a folder.
Did you say you need a right?
Yeah, it might be a right click thing.
Oh, I'm a Mac guy.
Yeah, that just messes everything up.
Well, for me, I think that I double clicked it. So the second folder didn't open, but when I went back, it opened in the first folder. I don't
Yeah.
know if that makes sense, but
Oh,
that's how.
okay.
There should be only one folder. Once the zip opens, it opens as a folder.
All right.
I'll see if I can actually, and if you need me to, I can put the actual folder in here, I think. Let me see if the folder will go in there.
I think it'll end up zipping it up anyway.
Yeah, it won't do that. Okay. I'm gonna do that.
But Ryan, I can jump on with you if
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make it even better. I'm going to put the 3 documents. We're going to get this all in the membership area. I just wanted you to have it already.
Yep.
So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to put all 3 items. Won't let me put all 3 items in there at once. So I'll put the items right in the chat.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns, unmet expectations?
Already.
Already.
I think this time works for everybody, so we don't go into the evening. This is a 2 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we
I
want,
like this time.
and if it turns out that we have some conflict, we'll try to adjust one of the sessions if we need to. But for now, if everybody can make this, if you have a problem, let us know privately. If there's a conflict. Remember, you always have the recordings, but we want you to be here for the coaching and the role play and the review and everything and whatnot. So, all right. So here's the agenda. So, and this is tentative. We'll firm it up after we discuss it. We were going to actually start the lab next week, right? But I think what we'll do is we'll do the value profile feedback next week, if it's okay with you guys, Terry, Christine.
Absolutely.
And then we'll go the week after, and we'll start on I guess it's the 10th, right? So that'll still give us 2 sessions in February. Plus you get the extra bonus session with the profile. And then we'll continue on an every 2-week schedule unless we decide otherwise. All right?
Perfect.
Somewhat democratic. Right. Anything else you'd like to share? Yeah, Tyler?
So one quick question, probably a bit of a silly one, but I was looking at that questionnaire and it asked upside revenue potential. What exactly is that looking for?
How much money do you think you can make? How much upside do you have?
Like potential in the business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can look at that as an annual, or you can look at it as an aggregate. I'd rather you look at it as an annual, where, I think we start at 100 to 500, 500 to $1 million, and then, whatever. So we want all of you at 6 figures if you're not. So that's why we started at 6 figures. And if you're already doing 6 figures, whatever you think, I would look at it as an annual amount, not aggregate, like how much can I make in 25 years?
Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
Because that might affect your strategy. Because, you can get lots of littles, like 10,000 people at $100, or you can get 100 people at $10,000. Same money, right? Depends on what you're selling, the price point. But just think in terms of honestly what you feel you have. Let's look at it this year. We're at the beginning of the year. So what do you think your upside is this year? At least it gives us a sense of target to work on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alicia.
This is kind of obvious, but I live by my calendar, so we'll get invites for all of these meetings, right? Calendar
Would you
invites.
like that?
Yes, please.
I can arrange for that.
I live and die by mine. If it's not on the calendar, I
That's
get a
excellent.
little lost. I think I have something
I'd be
today,
happy
but
to
I'm
do
not
that.
sure.
I think there's
Same
a few
here.
of us in here.
Same here with the calendar.
I'll do
Yep.
that today.
I'm glad you live and die. I only die by my calendar.
Well, if I miss something, I might die, so.
Don't die.
Okay.
Don't die. It's costly.
Comments? Anything you want to say? Are you having fun yet?
Of course.
All right. So if there's nothing else, communicate with us. Do you have an email they can use to communicate with us? Do you-
Yeah, our info at Generator Coaching, they
Right.
also all have my phone number. And don't hesitate to text me. I mean, Kevin texted me, and I want you guys to really get this. I've said this in a number of different groups that people have been in. Kevin texted me about a deal one day, and we talked for about 15 minutes. He put the offer in the deal, and he ended up closing that deal a couple of months ago, but he ended up getting his offer accepted. This is the kind of thing that you guys have access to that we want to make sure. We want to see the success. So don't tell yourself, oh, yeah, that. Don't tell yourself that I'm too busy or that I don't want to hear from you or something like that. We will get back to you. We want you to text us. We want you to reach out with questions. The more questions that you ask us, the better we can help you to have the success you're looking for.
It's very important to share your success
Absolutely.
and for us to reinforce it.
You know, I'm going to say it's also very important for you guys to share where you're not having success. I think it's almost even more important. Where am I stuck? Where am I not moving forward? And that's what this lab is all about, is like, where in that conversation did I mess up? I actually had somebody call me just before this. I told me, you got to get into this thing. Mitch, you know who he is. And he's like, I blew the end of the sale. I want to hear about that. I want to hear where you messed up. I want to hear what happened, because when we can dissect that, we can give you some suggestions on how you can move forward and make that much more free flowing.
And I would just say, don't wait until you screw it up. If you're not sure as going in, don't go in and then report all what you think. Call us, contact us before you go in, say, I'm not sure. Or if it's a short, Terry's making the invitation, you're crazy if you don't take him up on it. That's why I had to make the invitation. I know people will text me on. No, we want you to. Really, because if you think about it, if you have something that's a big deal or an important conversation, sometimes it's good to just, kind of run it by somebody before you get into the real game. And if we're still in the clubhouse, we'll be happy to respond to you. So I agree with him. And I say, if there's any doubts in your mind, reach out. Maybe we can help. Maybe we can't. We'll do our best.
Yep.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard. Great to see you all. We'll see you next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Look for the value profile. Will you be sending out, do we have a list of everybody you can just send out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the replay going to be emailed? I will
This email, this replay?
This replay, I will, for the moment, what we'll end up doing is we'll probably email you a link to it.
Yeah.
And then
It'll be up in the membership area once we get that settled.
yes.
Yeah. But for now, you can just email the link to everybody who's in for the replay of this, along with the value profile. So we'll kind of send you an email with different items. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
I know a few of you were curious about what all it included, but you may know a few people that might benefit from it. And if now you have the information that you can share with them, let them know, invite them, and have them benefit from what's going to be going on too. And you know how to get a hold of us.
I'm gonna ask a question. Does anybody here in this call actually know somebody that could benefit from being able to have a sales conversation better?
Mm,
Can I see a show of hands if you know somebody?
I'm not sure.
Okay, Alicia
I don't know if that's
lives
serious or
in a
sarcastic.
cave,
No, I'm serious. I'm not sure.
and so
Alicia,
Thought I was still muted too.
that's hilarious.
Alicia, what do you do for a living?
Right now I do sales operations, but in a couple weeks I'll be moving to a territory manager. So,
For a sales deal.
yes.
Okay. And so I think everybody knows at least one person that could benefit from having better sales. We will see you, Ryan. If you do, were you saying bye? You're raising your hand. If you do know someone, please get them in contact with us. We'd love to have a conversation. We'd love to invite them in. And we will make sure that we hook you up as a result.
All right. Well, you have a great weekend, a great week. If there's any questions, I'm going to have my email at the bottom of the instructions for the value profile. Feel free to communicate with me. All right. If you have any questions, and otherwise you can communicate with Terry and Christine, and they'll be in communication with me. We talk frequently. So look forward to seeing you all next week, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.